The forbidden ingredient. In a small village surrounded by dense forests and rolling hills, lived a woman named Zainab. She was known for her beauty and charisma, but more than that, she was known for her food. Zainab ran a small food stall near the village market, where travelers, villagers, and even the occasional noble would stop for a hearty meal. Her food, simple but flavorful, was said to be some of the best in the region. But as time went by, Zainab found herself in a financial bind. The market was becoming more competitive, and her once thriving business was slowly losing customers. Desperate for a solution, she sought advice from a local spiritualist, a woman named Mama Khadija, who was feared and revered in equal measure. Mama Khadija lived on the outskirts of the village, in a small, dimly lit hut surrounded by wild, overgrown plants. She was known to have powers that could help people achieve their heart's desires, but at a price. Zainab, with a heavy heart and a restless mind, approached Mama Khadija one evening, hoping to find a way to bring her customers back and save her struggling business. "Ah, Zainab," Mama Khadija said, her voice deep and gravelly, as if it came from the earth itself. "You've come to me for help, I see." Zainab nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "Yes, Mama Khadija. My business is failing. I don't know what to do anymore. People don't come like they used to. I need a way to bring them back." Mama Khadija smiled, but there was something unsettling about the way her lips curled. She studied Zainab for a moment, her eyes narrowing as if she were reading her very soul. "You want more customers, she said slowly. "There is a way, but you must be willing to do exactly as I say." Zainab, too desperate to question anything, nodded eagerly. "Yes, anything, Mama Khadija. I'll do whatever it takes." The old spiritualist turned and walked to the corner of her hut, where a small, dusty cabinet stood. She opened it and pulled out a tiny, ornate bottle filled with a thick, dark liquid. She handed it to Zainab, her fingers cold and bony. "Take this home with you," Mama Khadija instructed. "Tonight, before you prepare your food, you must mix this liquid with your own essence, your pubic hair and the water with which you wash your private parts. Use this mixture when cooking for your customers. It will draw them to you like moths to a flame. They will crave your food, and your stall will be more successful than ever before." Zainab's eyes widened, unsure if she had heard the spiritualist correctly. "My pubic hair?" Mama Khadija's eyes darkened, and her voice became a whisper. "Yes, it is a powerful, sacred ingredient. The spirits have shown me that this will work. But remember, Zainab, you must not tell anyone about this, for if they find out, the consequences will be dire." Zainab hesitated for a moment, feeling a knot of fear in her stomach, but her desperation outweighed her doubts. She accepted the bottle, thanked Mama Khadija, and hurried back to her home. That night, Zainab sat in her small kitchen, staring at the bottle of dark liquid. Could she really go through with it? The idea of using her pubic hair and washing herself in such a way felt wrong, but the thought of losing her business, her livelihood, and her reputation was unbearable. After much internal struggle, she decided to follow Mama Khadija's instructions. She carefully prepared the mixture, adding the liquid to the pot, along with the strands of her pubic hair and the water she had used to wash herself. She stirred the pot with trembling hands, whispering a prayer under her breath. When she was done, She set the pot aside to cool and waited for the morning. The next day, Zainab opened her stall with a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. She served her usual dishes, stews, grilled meats, and spicy rice, to the few customers who wandered by. At first, everything seemed normal, but as the day went on, more and more people began to stop at her stall. Some were regular customers who had not visited in weeks, while others were new faces, drawn to her food as if by an invisible force. By noon, her stall was swarmed with customers, all eager to test her dishes. The aroma of her food seemed to linger in the air, intoxicating everyone who passed by. Zainab couldn't believe her eyes. Her stall had never been this busy, not even during festivals. People praised her cooking, calling it the best they had ever tasted. Some even asked for more food, unable to get enough of the flavors she had crafted. Zainab's heart swelled with pride. She had done it. Her business was saved, just as Mama Khadija had promised. For weeks, the flow of customers continued. Zainab's stall became the most popular in the village, and soon, people from neighboring towns began to travel just to taste her food. She was making more money than she had ever imagined, and her once simple life was now filled with luxury. However, the secret weighed heavily on her mind. Every time she prepared her food, she felt a growing unease, but she pushed it aside, convinced that she was doing what was necessary to survive. But as the weeks turned into months, strange things began to happen. Some of her customers began to fall ill, complaining of stomach pains and fever. A few even claimed to have seen disturbing visions after eating her food. Rumors began to spread through the village, whispers of witchcraft and dark magic. At first, Zainab ignored them, but as more people fell sick, she started to panic. She went back to Mama Khadija, seeking guidance. Mama Khadija, something is wrong, Zainab said, her voice trembling with fear. People are getting sick, and they're starting to talk. I don't know what to do. Mama Khadija's face remained expressionless as she listened. You must stay calm, Zainab. The spirits are at work. This is a test of your faith. Do not let fear control you. But what if they find out? Zainab asked, her voice barely a whisper. What if they discover what I've been doing? Mama Khadija's eyes flashed with anger. You must not let them find out. If they do, they will turn against you. They will punish you. Zainab left Mama Khadija's hut feeling more unsettled than before. She tried to continue as usual, but the weight of her secret was becoming unbearable. One evening, as she was preparing her food, her hands shaking with guilt, she noticed that her pubic hair had begun to fall out in clumps. Panic seized her. She rushed to a mirror and saw that patches of her hair were missing. Her once beautiful locks were thinning, and her skin had taken on a sickly, pale hue. The next morning, the village was in an uproar. Several people had fallen gravely ill after eating Zainab's food, and the rumors of witchcraft had reached a fever pitch. A group of villagers, led by the village chief, stormed to her stall, demanding answers. Zainab, the chief shouted, his face red with anger. We know something is not right. Your food has caused illness, and we have heard whispers of dark magic. What have you done? Zainab, her heart pounding in her chest, tried to deny the accusations. I don't know what you're talking about. I've done nothing wrong. But the villagers were not convinced. They searched her stall, and soon, One of them found a small bottle hidden beneath her pots, the same bottle Mama Khadija had given her months ago. "This is witchcraft," the villager cried, holding up the bottle for all to see. "She's been using dark magic in her cooking." The crowd erupted in anger. Zainab tried to flee, but they caught her, dragging her to the center of the village. The chief stood before her, his face stern and unforgiving. "You have brought shame and sickness upon this village," he said coldly. "The spirits will not forgive this. You must be punished." The villagers demanded that Zainab confess her sins, and in her terror, she revealed everything. She told them about Mama Khadija, the strange liquid, and how she had been using her pubic hair in her cooking. The crowd gasped in horror, and the chief's face darkened with rage. "You have betrayed the trust of this village," the chief said, his voice shaking with fury. "For this, you will be made an example." The punishment was swift and cruel. The villagers stripped Zainab of her clothes, forcing her to dance naked in the village square. It was an ancient form of public humiliation, meant to cleanse the village of her wrongdoing. As she danced, her body trembling with shame and fear, the villagers jeered and spat at her, their eyes filled with disgust. Some threw stones, while others chanted curses, calling for the spirits to take her soul. Zainab's once beautiful face was now a mask of agony, her body bruised and battered. She danced until she could no longer stand, collapsing onto the ground in exhaustion. The chief stepped forward, looking down at her with cold, unforgiving eyes. "You are banished from this village," he said. "Never return, or the spirits will claim you." With those final words, Zainab was cast out of the village, left to wander the wilderness alone. Stripped of her dignity, her business, and her reputation, she disappeared into the forest, never to be seen again. And as for Mama Khadija, she too vanished shortly after Zainab's downfall, leaving behind only whispers of her dark magic and the power she had wielded over the desperate souls who came to her for help. The end.